Thank you, everyone, and welcome to our Demo Tuesday today, where we'll be going through Azure architecture concepts. So, an introduction about us. We are a tech consulting firm with over 50 plus years of leadership experience. And what we do is we get to engage with you as our customer, get to understand your needs, and work together to develop solutions that work for you. So we normally say we are vendor agnostic. We're not restricted to one service provider, and we do work well with what you have. And an example is today we'll be going through the Microsoft Azure architecture, showing you how you can create solutions and how you can create great solutions using Azure. So let's proceed with the agenda for today. So I have a question to the team. I want us to imagine a city that's flawless, a city where everything works. So I would like to hear from every one of us. How would your ideal city look like? The city you live in. How would your ideal city look like? And I'm going to start with Sami. You can just tell us one thing that you would like your ideal city to have. Yes.
Okay. So for me, I think my ideal city, I love green spaces and lots of sun. So I'd love with great views. So I'd love a city that has a lots of green spaces with some great sunshine and amazing views.
Okay, thank you for that. Next we have Mr. Wambui. What would your ideal city look like? One thing.
I would like a city where everything is learning. For example, if I want to go I want something, a shopping, I just pick something maybe in my house and I get. If I want to go, I just get out of my door and then there's a train passing in my door and then I go where I want. Like there's no struggle.
Thank you so much for that. Next up we have Malvin. Tell us one thing about your ideal city.
Okay, for me, an ideal city, okay, in my context, a city where free from traffic, a clean city in terms of maybe proper garbage management, proper sewage lines, like everything related to cleanliness. Yeah, that's my typical and ideal city.
Thank you so much, Malvin. Effie, how would your ideal city look like? One thing.
So I would like my ideal city to be a blend of traditional and modern a bit, and be like where people can work, where people can do their activities. Also a safe city and authentic.
Wow, thank you for that. Yes, Mr. Eric, how would your ideal city look like? One aspect.
A less wasteful city that is more efficient and effective. Don't charge me more for your waste. Don't water the grass during winter, even though you need it, and then charge me like triple the amount for that. So, yep.
Well, thank you. Adam, give us one aspect of your ideal city.
A city that is flawless in terms of transport and communication. Everything is on time, ticked to the T. You know exactly. I'm leaving from Nairobi to Nyandarua, right? I know exactly how much time it takes and what time my transport method will be arriving and leaving.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and Leonard, tell us about one aspect of your ideal city.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good evening, good wherever you are. So I think for me, and what everybody has just said, it's all about data. So whether it's a train, whether it's Martin opening the door and there's a bicycle waiting for him, call them what e-bikes. Whether it's Eric not wanting to pay extra for other people's, I'll use that word. So it all culminates to one thing, a smart city. So I think an ideal city is a smart city that's aware of the data, it's aware of its citizens, it's aware of what's really happening around. So just that smart city, it's aware. That's, I think, to me, that's the ideal city. It knows when we need to water our lawns, it knows when we need to cut the grass, and we have an autonomous lawnmowers that just show up and do these things. So a smart city for me.
Oh, well, thank you for that. So yeah, we've all talked about a really smart city and an ideal one. So yeah, let's imagine we are walking into this city. It has everything, as you've said. The roads are flawless. The lights adjust automatically based on traffic. Let's even imagine that every building is designed to adapt, that it can grow taller when more people come in, and it can even scale back when fewer people are around. And then we have a central control tower that does the monitoring for us. It will monitor the traffic, monitor security, energy, and even weather. So in terms of a city, that can sound as fiction, but when we talk about Azure, now that's great architecture in action. So let's go through these 5 concepts and see how they all translate to great architecture. So in Azure, Azure architecture is not just about spinning virtual machines or dragging boxes in diagrams. It's about designing resilient, scalable, and cost-efficient environments that adapt to the needs of the business. So it could be hosting a small website or running global applications that serve millions. The whole architecture makes or breaks the solution. And when we talk about architecture in Azure, we are talking about how we store the data reliably, how we secure access without over-permissioning, how we monitor the health of our apps, how we recover when things fail, because of course, failure is inevitable, but you say unpreparedness is optional. So when building a house, you consider all the foundations. So in the same way, we're going to have a look at the foundations of Azure solutions. And we're going to go through this in terms of these 5 key concepts, where we have backup and recovery, we have storage tiering, we have role-based access control, log analytics, and the Azure hosting with Azure App Services. So we're not just going to talk about them, rather we are going to see the practical side of it and see how we can do these things. So let's get started. So yeah, we start with Azure Backup and Recovery. So in the real world, data loss isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. we can have someone accidentally delete a production file, or we can have a ransomware attack that will try to encrypt your virtual machines, or some which are beyond our control. We can have a region, a storage region going down due to network failure or a natural disaster. So the real failure is not the outage, it's us not having a recovery plan. And that's where Azure Backup steps in, which is like your save game button, but now in the cloud. So a fully managed, it's fully managed, it's encrypted, and it's automated. So Azure Backup lets us protect our virtual machines, our files, our databases, and even entire workloads across regions. So you choose what to backup, how long to keep it, and how fast you want to recover it. So this runs through a control tower, which we call a recovery services vault, where you can set the policies, monitor jobs, and even restore individual files from a snapshot. So let's head over to the Azure portal and get to have a look at this. So let's go to storage. Yeah, so we go to our portal and navigate to the home button, and then we go to, let's for example, look at the backup for a virtual machine. So we'll come open the virtual machine, and then from the list of virtual machines available, let's click on one and proceed to create the backup plan. So when you open the virtual machine, you can see there's so many things you can see from the left pane. So let's go to the backup and disaster recovery and click on the backup. So yeah, so here we go. If you already have a recovery services vault, then we can select an existing one. If not, we proceed to create a new one. So for example, this is a name. We've given it Vault 482. We can choose the resource group we want it, and I can change the resource group. And then we have two types of the policy subtype, where we have a standard and an enhanced one. So the standard will give you once a day backup and up to 5 days operational tier retention. But the enhanced one has more features. We have multiple backups per day, up to 30 days operational tier retention. We have the support for both the launch Azure VM and for VM with Ultra disks. And then you can you create a backup policy. So in our case, this is the policy we have. Because we have selected the enhanced with multiple backups per day, our policy says we can backup every 4 hours, starting 8 a.m., instant recovery, and you can even retain the backups for every 30 days. And we can go ahead and edit this policy. So yeah, we can edit the policy to determine the frequency. Do you want hourly, daily, or weekly? What time do you want the backup to happen? What's the schedule, the duration, the time zone, and all that, including setting the days for the retention and yeah, all this. So so that's how we go ahead with the backup. So in our case, yeah, so that's how you can backup a virtual machine. We used a virtual machine as our use case. So you can notice how simple this is. With just a few clicks, the machine is protected. We did not need to manage any backup servers, tapes, or even scripts. We have Azure handling the orchestration, the encryption, and even geo-redundancy if we need it. So that's how Azure comes in for us for this. Yeah, there's a punchline that Azure engineers normally say that when disaster strikes, most companies panic. But those with Azure Backup, they just restore and move on. So let's proceed with our architecture. And from after creating our backup, we want to proceed and remember our smart city. We want efficiency and effectiveness. So let's now proceed to the storage tiers. So now that we have protected our data, let's talk about where and how we store that data. And in the field of data, we say that not all data is created equal. We all know we have some files that we open every day, and then we have others like say logs, old invoices, or compliance reports that just sit in storage. They are untouched for months or even years. But since we are talking about the cloud, it's not just capacity. It's strategy comes in because we have to consider cost. We have to consider, the amount you are paying for having this service and this storage. So with Azure, we get to have 3 types of tiers. So we have the hot, we have the cool, and the archive. So the hot is for frequently accessed files like project documents or active website media. These are things we use on a day-to-day basis, so we keep on accessing them. So what happens for hot? The storage price is high, but the access prices, the access cost is low because we keep on accessing them frequently. And then for cool, this is for the infrequent use, let's say reports, marketing assets, or let's say last quarter's analytics. We won't refer to them every day, but once in a while we need to go check them out. And then we have archive, which is for the rarely accessed data. For example, we can say the raw logs, backups from years ago, maybe tax files. We need them, but we don't access them on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, and some we even take 4 or 5 years before accessing them. So with the archive one, the storage cost is low, but the access cost is high. So that's now the difference coming from hot to archive. So we pay less for their storage, and then now since we don't access them frequently, but when we are accessing them, then the access cost is high, and the reverse is true for the hot. So we're going to go back to the Azure portal and get to have a look at this in action. So let's go back to Azure portal, and then again, now this is the home page, and we want to view the storage. So we'll click on the storage account, and then in our case, we have this GPT-4 storage hub. So inside our storage account, we have we have containers. We have our storage inside here. So let it load. We get inside one of the containers and view what we have. So what you're going to see when we get to the location of the file, we can proceed and change we can change it from hot to cool to archive, which we do in the process of managing the cost. So when we move it to cool, we reduce the storage costs, but if we need to access, then the access price goes up. If we go to archive, then we save on the storage, but we now pay more when accessing. So okay, yeah, so we have our storage account, which is GPT-4 Storage Hub, and then we have containers inside. So we can go inside this one called interview and see what files we have in there. Yeah, so you can see we have some zip files and PDFs, so we can change the tier for this one. So you just select on the document, click change tier, and you can see we have them. We have this document in this case has been defined as hot, meaning we frequently access this document. So its storage price is higher, but the access price is low. So we can access them as frequently as we want. And then this is where you can change it to cool, or you can change it to archive, and you can see you're even told that changing the access tier may, the pricing, the access and storage price. So yeah, that's that. We now proceed back. Yeah. So before we move on, let's think of the storage tiers as let's use our desk, the one we're using, you're seated with right now. So think of hot as something that's on your desk. For example, for me, I have my pen here, which I can access easily. Cool is when I have my pen inside a drawer, where I have to open the drawer first so that I can access the pen. And then for archive, that's, let's say, in the basement or in another room. So I can still get it, yes, but it's not instant. I need to go get that pen. Yeah, and now that we did the backup, which we secured our data, and we have optimized cost using the storage tiers, let's proceed with now the access. So so imagine this, we've built a rock solid solution. We've backed up our data already, we've optimized our storage, but then someone deletes a resource they weren't supposed to. So when you talk about this, it's not always an attacker. Sometimes it can be, let's say we have an intern who has contributor access. He or she meant to stop test VM, but accidentally deleted the production one. So that's painful. And in this case, in Azure, security starts with access, and that's where the role-based access control comes in. It will this helps us control who can do what within the Azure within Azure. So you can assign roles to your users, directly, to groups or apps, and then scope them to specific resources, either subscription-wise, by resource group, or even down to a single storage container. And in Fabric, we use the deny all except. So in Azure as well, we use the least privilege principle, whereby you only give people what they need. no more, no less. So let's head over to the Azure portal and get to see this in action. So yeah, let's go here. So we've said we can have the access at different levels. We can have it on a subscription level. We can have it on a resource group level, and we can have it on the individual resource. So let's, for example, go to a resource group. So we have a resource group named MCPP patches, and you can see inside the resource group we have a few resources. We have an events hub namespace, some API connections, app service plans, etc. So let's go to the access control to see who can do what inside here. So we come here. We go to the role assignments, and yeah, and we can see, let's use Edgar here. So we can see in this resource group called MCPP patches, Edgar is an owner, and we have Martin here as user access admin. So these are, you can see the difference in the roles. So in this case, we've given the roles on the subscription level, and now the resource group is inheriting that. An alternative would be denying roles at the subscription level and enabling them at the resource group level, or even going to the actual resource to give the access from here. So those are the difference between the resource group and the subscription. So let's click here to add a role assignment and see different levels and what we mean with this. So for example, we have reader. Reader is someone who can view all the resources, but with that permission, one cannot make any changes. So if, for example, we have someone who needs to view the resources but should not make the changes, then this is the role that we give that person. And then if, for example, we go to contributor, so a contributor can manage, if, for example, it's a workspace contributor, they can manage the workspace, they can view, they can create resources, they can do everything, but cannot modify the membership. So if we now go to the admin can proceed with all the roles of the reader, the contributor, and can even manage the members. And then we have the owner, who in this case has the full permissions of that resource. They can view everything from billing, from resources created by others. They can add members, they can remove, they can do all that. So those are the different access levels. So so if, let's say, we have a user who we want to give the role to just view the billing reports, this user is not deleting anything, is not supposed to spin any VM, then for such a situation, we can give the reader permissions. If we have a developer who wants to manage a test environment, then you can give them the contributor access to just that resource group and not the entire subscription. So when going to the office, there's a security guard at your door. So the role-based access control protects our cloud the same way your security guard protects the building. And then we normally have employees getting badges, but even with that, with your badge, if you're not the system admin, you cannot get access to the server room. So that's the same case with the role-based access control and the role it plays in Azure architecture. So let's proceed. Yeah, and next we go to log analytics and monitoring. So I have a question. What happens when something goes wrong? Let's say a virtual machine fails. Maybe someone triggers a suspicious action, or maybe the storage usage just quietly creeps towards the limit. We don't want to find out after the fact. Rather, we would want visibility in real time. So that's where the log analytics and monitoring comes in. It's Azure's centralized and powerful monitoring solution. So with log analytics, it works with the Kusto query language, and we can collect telemetry from all across Azure and ask questions like what failed last night, who changed this resource, how many requests hit our app. And yeah, let's head over to the Azure portal and see this in action. So yeah, again, we navigate to our Azure portal, and then we go to the log analytics workspace. So in our case, you can see we have two of them, one per region. So let's go to this one, South Central. And then from our log analytics workspace, we navigate to the logs. Yeah, and we want to ask questions about our environment. We want to, for example, we can ask about any failed activities and let's say group them by resource group, or yeah. So let me refresh this. We go to the logs. Yeah, so we already have some sample queries that are here for us. So in case we are not familiar with Kusto query language, we already have some sample queries that can help us out. So for example, in terms of applications, we can run a query to see the variant assignment counts by features. If we go to audit, we can get to ask questions like the count of calls based on a user. Are there any slow requests? We can get to query the Microsoft Entra Authentication audit log. If you go to Azure Monitor, again, we can run a query that tells us participants per call, participants per group calls. Azure Resources, we have the list of failed authorizations, status of all operations for Pharma. We can see the throttled requests. We have virtual desktop. We can run a query about the active sessions on session host. We can run a query on the session's duration. If we talk about containers, we can do queries, say, for example, for the volume of Kubernetes audit events. We can run queries on cluster autoscaler logs, and yeah. If we go to databases, we can run queries on the loading data, the weight statistics. When you go to desktop analytics, we can run queries to view the device configurations, distributions of device OS edition. When you go to IT and management tools, again, also has quite a number, backup items by vault, CPU utilization. If you go to network, we can see the client requests per hour. Enter authentication audit logs. There's basically so much you can view when you go to security, the virtual machines, the workloads, and here you can select. Do you want to do a query by category, by query type? Do you want to do it by resource type? So if it's the resource, you can see the Azure App Services. You can run queries for that. Azure Cosmos DB, you can run queries for that. Container apps, be it data factories, be it the IoT hub, key vaults. If you want to view the Microsoft Graph logs, your SQL databases, your SQL managed instances, your SQL servers. You can basically view, you can query all these logs, and you can also query by solution. So for example, there's a SQL health check. You can run queries on that, update compliance, and everything. And then you can also do it by topic. So if, for example, it's audit, you can run a query for the most recent delete key value operations, and so we can actually do a test with one. So when you click run, it opens this interface where where you can view the results, and you can see that you can change the time range from the last 30 minutes, the last hour, the last 48 hours, the past 1 week, or even do a custom, which can be 1 month, 2 months, or as long as you want. So you can always adjust the time range. And then you can query using tables. For example, the log management, we have the app events table, the app metrics, performance, app requests, usage, and you can run for all these. When you go to queries, these are some of the ones we saw before we got to this screen. And then we have functions, and then you can see the different functions: the Azure backup, the log operations, Azure site recovery, and you can even see a history of your queries. If you want to do a custom query, you'll just come and add a new query, and then we have two modes. There's the simple mode and the Kusto query language mode. So I'll click on the Kusto query language mode, and then I can type my query here. So for me, let's view in the past 24 hours if we have any Azure activity that the status says failed, and we want to see that by resource group. So just going to run that, and you see it doesn't take long, and we can see from the last 24 hours we do not have an activity status that said failed. And you can, after doing the analytics, the logs, you can pin the results to a dashboard, you can export them, or you can even set alerts. You can create alert rules, and there's so much you can do with the log analytics. So in our smart city, in our building, in our office, log analytics is like the security camera. So with the security camera, you can always rewind, you can review, and even respond. So you don't have to guess what happened. You know. Yeah, and with that, we'll continue we'll continue to our next architecture concept, which is now the web app plus domain plus SSL, the Azure app hosting with app services. So a small recap. So far, we've protected our systems, we've secured our access, we've optimized cost, and we've even gained visibility. So this is the fun part, now putting the ideas into action. So let's say we've built a website, an API, or even a full web application. So the business wants it live by end of day. So we don't have time for servers, patching, or the firewall rules. So this is where Azure App Service shines. It's a fully managed platform for hosting web apps, could be REST APIs, or even backends for mobile apps. So with Azure App Service, you can deploy code directly from GitHub, from Visual Studio, or even zip files. And the beauty is that it auto-scales, it supports custom domains, it handles SSLs for free, and it integrates with authentication providers like Azure AD, Google, or Facebook. So let's think of it as our launchpad to production, but you're not touching any infrastructure. So let's navigate to our Azure portal and get to do this, to see this in action. So yeah, we navigate to our Azure portal, and now we go to the Azure App Services. So for me, I have a demo app already running, but if you don't have one, you just proceed to create one. So you can create a web app, and then so this is the subscription you're creating from. You can select your resource group, and then you can put in your web app name. So so yeah, we can call it, let's say, Test App Tuesday, and then so the URL will be .azurewebsites.net. So and then there's the location. So for example, if we choose South Central, then we'll have the URL changing here. Yes, to South Central US .azurewebsites.net, and then you select for the publishing, we use code, and then the runtime stack is the framework that you've used to build your application. So for example, we can choose Python, and then the OS, whichever OS you're using, be it Linux or Windows, and then the region, and then the plan. So for here, you can choose from the free one, you can choose the standard one, or yeah, there are so many options that you can choose from, which translates to the pricing plan. Yeah, so that's how you create your web app. So in our case, because we already have one, let's go and use that one to see how this works. So if I click on the demo app, you can see that the status is running, meaning is active, and then we have the URL to access this online. So our app, by just creating like that, we already have it running online, and we already have the URL that you can use to access it. So so when we copy this URL and open it, it will redirect us to here, that our web app is running and waiting for our content. So our web app is live, but we do not have the content yet. So if you've already deployed, it could take up to 5 minutes for your content to show up. So come back soon. So and then now from here, you just need to go back and upload your application, your files, and just that you already have your app hosted and running online. So in just a few steps, you'll have configured a fully functional environment, which you've done with this to host the app. And this is complete with scalability and all the diagnostic and support. And you can see we didn't touch any server. We didn't install anything. When creating the app, you just hit the create button and it goes live in under 1 minute, in just 60 seconds. Sorry. So yeah. So, and if we can have a look at the app, we can see it's already secured. You do not need any additional SSL. Rather, from Azure, you can see that this site has a valid certificate issued by a trusted authority. So information such as passwords or credit cards will be securely sent to this site and cannot be intercepted. So yeah, the hosting comes with its security and with all that. So that's basically it for our presentation today. Yeah, we've had a look at Azure architecture from the backup and recovery, from the storage tiering, access control, monitoring your logs and analytics, and even application hosting. So yeah, we believe with that we can be able to create solutions and the right solutions for that matter. So we're going to open up the floor for any questions, and as we open up that, we say that what you've discussed are not just tools. Rather, like we mentioned when we were starting, they are strategic capabilities. And when you use them right, they can help you build systems that are not just functional, but they are secure, they are resilient, and they are cost effective. So thank you for joining in. Let's open the floor for any questions, thoughts, or maybe use case suggestions for such. So welcome.
Okay, thank you, Martin, for the presentation. It's very informative, and I have learned a lot today. But I'm sorry, I have 4 questions. I don't know whether you'll be able to handle the 4 questions within the limited time which we have. So the first question, you talked about backup. So I have a question, whether on switched off VMs or virtual machines, can they be backed up under a given subscription? Then the second one, you also talked about geo-redundancy. Why is it important to check location of a user before assigning a given subscription to that user? Then should I read all the questions first, or you respond as I read them?
Okay, so we can respond to them as you read them. And the first one, yes, the answer is yes, that we can back up switched off VMs. And then repeat the second question, the geo-redundant one.
Why is it important to check the location before assigning a user a subscription?
Okay. So when you talk about regions, it's we have data centers in different regions. For example, in this case, you can see we have South Central, we have East to West. These are data center regions in Azure. So so when you want to, okay, your question is why it's important to check where the user is before assigning the region.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
yeah, the basic answer is that you first consider the regions closer to you, and then the backups are they're created like 3 copies. So you can have a copy in a data center in South Central. You can have another copy in East US, and you can have another copy in a different location, such that whenever there's an issue with one location, then you can easily is it failover? You can easily access now the resources from a different location.
Okay, let me ask the last one. I think the fourth one, it's in line with what you've just spoken. So you also talked about Azure storage. Do we have like a retention period for the archived resources? I remember you talked about hot, cool, then archive. So do we have like a retention period that the resources are supposed to stay before maybe they are maybe deleted or something? And if there is, then do we have like a number of days and maybe years or something like the sort?
Okay, thank you for the question. So the beauty of this is that you can define your own policy. But for example, for the archive tier, we normally use 7 years. So we said the hot tier is for those ones you access on a day-to-day basis, and then anything that you access within a, let's say, 7-year time frame, you can have that in the cool tier, and then anything beyond that, beyond 7 years, you can have that in the archive. As you remember, the archive, you're not paying for the storage, but it's the access. So yeah, if you're not accessing it frequently, that's when you have it there. And yeah, the beauty is that you can get to define your own policy on how long you want what, where. So yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Leonard.
Yes, first of all, that was amazing. So I have actually 2 questions, but I will try to respect time here. One of them that we do have is, you talked about hosting. Does this mean then, because we're able to host and generate even the SSLs, does that mean that we can, like now, for instance, for us, can we be able to move from our hosting company GoDaddy and host it on Azure for public site?
Okay, thank you for that question. So what I showed you is a quick way when you're doing away with the server option, and when you, as you can see from the app we created, it doesn't have our custom URL. It has the demo app, which is the name of our app, and then plus the storage location, and then .azurewebsites.net, because this is where we are. We've rode on this to host our app. So if you want to host your website and you want to have a custom URL, then you can host on Azure, yes, but not under App Service, but rather in a server. But if you're not interested in a custom URL and you're okay with region.azurewebsites.net, then you can go ahead with the app service.
Okay. So that was question one. So the second question I have is, we have a lot of custom, or let me say, vendor-driven backup solutions. So would you encourage customers then, like now, for instance, our customers to utilize the Azure backups, and can I be able to back up something that's not hosted on Azure?
Okay, so thank you for the question. So yeah, the answer is okay. The Azure backup works really well for files. We did an example with a virtual machine, but the backup works for your files, your virtual machines, and basically everything you have within Azure. So for this, it's within Azure, not outside. So if, for example, a customer has they are stored elsewhere, then I don't think we can use the Azure backup for that, because this is reading from within your Azure, your cloud here. Yeah, so maybe we can explore to see where they intertwine. Let's say, for example, if a customer has their files in GCP or AWS, we can get to see how they intertwine with Azure and how the backup can work. But for now, what we have, the Azure backup is for what you have stored in your Azure cloud in your environment. Yes.
Thank you. My other follow-up question would have been on the custom URL. I
Yes.
know Azure does jump from one data center to the next based on geolocation.
Yes.
So does that always remain consistent? Or do we wake up one day and find out that we are no longer South Central-01, now we are North Central-05?
Okay, so no, the URL doesn't change. What happens is, in case of, let's say, an event that needs you being transferred from one region to the next, it's the URL is what will be redirected to your file's location in the other data center. So that you won't wake up to open URL and it's 404 not found. Thank you, everyone. So yeah, we'll stop it at that.